What I love is my kefir, my milk kefir. It's just so good. And it's just plain. I can just eat it plain. Hello, this is Michelle from God's Christian Gardens and His Harvest Homestead. And I just thought I would make a little video here. I am straining my kefir that I've been keeping in the fridge. I raise goats and we have goat milk here. I have a lot of kefir grains, and the way, it's just my husband and I, so the way that I have to kind of keep my kefir going, yet not have to make it all the time to keep my kefir grains happy, is I keep them refrigerated. What I love is my kefir, my milk kefir. It's just so good. And it's just plain. I can just eat it plain. So I'm going to show you what I'm doing. You can watch. All right, so I have this jar right here. This jar stays in my fridge unless I'm going to set it on my counter for a 24-hour period to make the kefir. But it always stays in my fridge with kefir grains about that much, really. You'll see them right here. These are some of the kefir grains. I still have some in here. Let's just imagine, I already started, so imagine this was full and it had milk in it. I took it out of the fridge and it had kefir grains in it too, because I basically, every time I finish making the kefir, I always pour my kefir grains back in here, pour the milk over it, and put it in the fridge. And it may stay in the fridge a week. It may stay in the fridge just 2 or 3 days. It depends on how fast we use up the kefir. So I'm going to take this right here. I'm going to take this and put it over my kefir right here that I just finished straining. And I have more to strain. So I'm going to take this jar, pick it up, and pour it right over the rest of the kefir grains and get all the other kefir grains out. All right, and some of them I might have to scrape out with a spatula. But that's the rest right there. Then I take my spatula and I'll just scoop it around. This particular colander works really good. It was just a cheap dollar store colander, but you have to use a colander that has holes small enough so that the grains won't fall through, okay? And this particular one works really good. So I'm just stirring it around, getting that nice stuff to drip through there. All that nice fermented milk, so delicious. And I never rinse my kefir grains. I just stir them really good. And when you know they're healthy, when they're looking like this and they have kind of like a slimy coating to them, then you know they're pretty healthy. All right, so I'm gonna set this as my catching bowl. I'm gonna scrape the bottom a little bit here to get all that to go in. I like to save as much as I can. All right, and then I'm gonna set this back in here just so it doesn't drip on the counter. Then I'm going to take this and clean it out a little bit. Just try to get everything, but I never clean, I never rinse out my jar. That doesn't happen. That just stays like this. I'm gonna just drip it back in there for a little bit here. I'm just going to pour it in here. Now that's good enough for that. So I'm going to pick this back up and stir it around a little bit more to get that to go through. And I'll probably scrape that other bowl and scrape that little bit that dripped in there. So I have all this stuff. All right, and so I think that's probably good enough right there. I'm going to scrape the bottom. My spatula, just scrape along the edges and get it. My grains are growing because I'm just pouring fresh milk over them, so they do grow, but they don't grow super fast. But I do have a lot of grains in here. I've got a whole colander full of grains. I just load these grains right back into the jar like this. All these nice healthy grains. Try not to spill. And okay, I'll clean the back of this thing. may pick up the grains that fell. So this is pretty full. I mean, it's got a good amount of grains. I would say it's probably to here, which is about a good two inches maybe of grain. All right, and I'm going to go get some milk out of the milk parlor where my husband milks a couple goats every morning. And I'm going to pour that on top of here. First, I'll take this and put it in here, just the little drippings that I've got here. Okay, so that's done. So then I'll wash that. We got one extra grain in there. I don't want to waste anything. Okay, I have another jar in my fridge, and you can see my kefir is almost gone. I had a nice glass of it last night, and my husband loves to drink it also. I'll wipe up my dirty counter here. All right, and then I'm gonna set this. This is just my other jar. It's about a 2-quart container. And so I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna pour this in here. Might even have a little extra, but we'll see. Maybe I can have a little bit extra to drink. And one thing I like about this, it looks like it's gonna be perfect. Yummy. One thing I like about doing it this way is that as this kefir sits in the fridge and as we use it over the next couple days, it actually thickens. So it gets so thick that I can't even pour it hardly. I have to stir it. This white spoon, I'm gonna put this in here and stir it up with a little bit of the extra that was at the bottom that was already kind of thick. But it'll thicken. It'll thicken. And it's more soupy now, but it's perfect for setting in the fridge. All right, so I'm going to put cover on that. That'll be my kefir for the next few days. Sometimes we drink it a little bit, sometimes we skip a day or so and then it lasts a little longer, but it doesn't matter how long. If I end up using this up in maybe say 4 days, the longer this kefir that this sits in the fridge with the milk on it, the quicker when I take it out, it'll make kefir because it's been in the refrigerator longer. But even if it's just in there a couple days, when I take it out, I just leave it in. I leave it on the counter long enough, usually 24 hours to 36 hours, maybe 48 hours, depending, that it will be done. All right, so I'm gonna wash these. I'm gonna go out and I'll be right back. I'm gonna go out to my barn. Hey, Porky. Chickies. Chickies, you're in here laying eggs, aren't you? What are you doing, Porky? Yeah. I got you some hay. You got hay in there. You got hay in the box. It's a beautiful day today. It was actually very cold this morning, probably in the 40s, 46. So I've got to get my peppers harvested and pruned back. I might keep a couple for the winter in the greenhouse, not sure. I did start a little bit of a winter garden. Got some broccoli and cabbage in there. Going to have to do some cleanup here. Okay, I'm back with my milk. So I'm going to pour. I'm going to open my milk up because we vacuum seal everything. So whenever we have milk, we milk the goats, chill the milk, and then vacuum seal it. So it's always going to be nice and cold, and it's fresh, and it's just such a great taste. It's really, nobody that I've given my milk to has complained. So I'm going to pour this milk in here. The more kefir grains I have, the less milk I can pour, but I almost can get a whole half gallon in there. Got a little bit left, and look at that cream in there. I think I'm just gonna eat that. I'll pour the rest of this milk in the other pitcher. I don't want to fill too high, and the reason why is because when I go to set it on the counter for it to ferment, it can actually flood over because it starts to ferment and get all bubbly and stuff. So I'm going to seal that and give it a good shake. Got some sweet potatoes this morning. I was harvesting out of my tire garden. I'm gonna have to get more of them. Put this in the fridge, and I'm gonna put this in the fridge. So now I've got my kefir grains with my milk over it, and I've got my kefir. Okay, well, that's it. That's what I do when I do my kefir, and it's delicious. So try it sometime. You might like it. You can even use regular milk and make it that way too. God bless and have a wonderful day. See you next time.